We arrived in Hamelin in late October. The air smelled of wood smoke and damp stone. A small town. Quiet. Almost too quiet. It's the kind of place where secrets don't die. They whisper through the cracks in the walls. We came here as journalists. 3 of us. Our goal was simple: uncover the truth behind one of Europe's strangest and most persistent legends. The children of Hamelin. 130 of them. Gone. Vanished. In a single day, the summer of 1284. And the man in the colorful coat, the one with the flute. We didn't expect answers. But what we found was worse than silence. You want to know what happened to the children? The pastor's voice trembled as he led us into the back room of the old church. Then be prepared to hear things no sane man should carry. His name was Wilhelm Voigt. 82. He moved slowly, like a man bearing something invisible but unbearably heavy. He unlocked a chest and took out a piece of parchment. Yellowed. Brittle. Ancient. This, he whispered, is a copy of the Church Chronicle. Written a century after the event. There's no emotion in it. Only facts. And they are more terrifying than fiction. The official version is simple. A man came to Hamelin. He promised to rid the city of rats for a fee. The townspeople agreed. He played his flute, and the rats followed him. Into the Weser River. They drowned. But when the town refused to pay, he came back. This time, he played a different tune. And 130 children followed him out of the city. They were never seen again. Only 3 returned. 1 was blind. 1 was deaf. And 1 was lame. None could explain what happened. At first, it sounded like folklore. Until we met Hans Kruger, an archivist, living alone in a boarded-up house outside Hamelin. Since he began researching the case, he said, he couldn't sleep. He felt watched. Followed. He handed us a scanned record. A tax roll from 1279. Family after family, 5 or 6 children each. But by 1285, the names remained. Only the adults. No laughter. No play. No generation. Gone. Kruger also found a letter. Buried deep in a monastic archive. It was written by a German crusader named Gottfried von Rechberg. I arrived in Hamelin, it read, and found a town without laughter. One elder told me. They left with a man in a red cloak. And we never saw them again. The first night we stayed at the Rattenfänger house. The Pied Piper's house. At 3 a.m. I woke up to a sound. A soft, haunting melody. Barely audible. Like wind passing through an old keyhole. I got out of bed and went to the window. Down the street stood a tall figure, wrapped in a dark cloak. It raised one hand. And vanished. The hotel owner, Gustav Meyer, wasn't surprised. You heard the flute? He asked. That's normal. Most of you hear it. Especially those who come looking for more than they should. We expanded our search beyond Hamelin. To Detmold, 70 kilometers away. There, a theory emerged. That the children were not taken, but relocated. Part of a large-scale migration to Eastern Europe. A human colonization effort. Dr. Birgit Scheuer, an archaeologist from Leipzig University, showed us bones. Children. Dozens of them. Buried in shallow graves near modern-day Poland. Clothing fibers from the late 13th century. And something else. Something chilling. Tiny fragments of wooden instruments. Flutes. Not funeral items. but left behind, like breadcrumbs or a warning. We studied every theory. Some blamed mass hysteria, triggered by disease, famine, or poisoned crops. Ergot fungus, like the dancing plague in Strasbourg. Others believed the children joined the so-called Children's Crusade, swept up in religious madness, marching toward Jerusalem. Another theory suggested dark economics, that the town elders sold the children to labor lords in the East. But some believed the piper was never human, a spirit, a demon, or worse, justice incarnate. On June 26, 2024, we stood in the silence of Bungalow Sundstrasse, the street from which the children vanished. Each year, on this day, the town holds a silent procession. 130 children, dressed in black, walk the same path. No music. No words. Only the sound of footsteps. As the procession ended, a young girl, Mila, age 11, stopped suddenly. She turned to us. "He's playing again," she whispered. "He's here. Only you can't hear him." The next day, Mila was found in the woods, 15 kilometers from town, unconscious. In her hand, a freshly carved flute from beechwood. Later, we found a man who claimed to be descended from one of the three who returned, Erich Brunner, living in Hanover. "My grandfather used to say we were cursed," he said. "He said we are the left behind, and that one day, the piper would come to collect what's owed." Do you believe that? Eric looked out the window for a long time. "I believe some debts never expire." One morning, a letter arrived at our office. No return address. No postmark. On the envelope, handwritten, "Play or listen forever." Inside was a single sheet of parchment. A musical score. No lyrics. Just symbols. Sharp. Jagged. Repeating patterns. We gave it to a musician. He studied it for hours. Finally, he pushed it away. "This isn't music," he said. "It's a key. And I don't want to know what it unlocks." We left Hamelin 3 weeks later. We proved nothing. We disproved nothing. The story remains. So does the music. And if you ever hear the sound of a flute, don't follow it. No matter how beautiful it sounds, don't follow it. Clipchamp.